Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. We will make sure to respect your time. My name is Kaja Figlarska, and I'm a sales support specialist at Kirkhoff Technologies, MSP, which is a managed service provider. And joining me today is our VCIO and AVP projects, Isabel Schmidt. And she works with our clients to create a vision for information technology that meets the organization's objectives. And then she works with our project team to implement that vision. We will have a Q&A section at the end of our presentation after demo, so let us know if you have any questions and we will make sure to respond to your questions. Thank you and good luck, Isabel.
Thank you, Kaya. All right, so today we're going to be covering is what makes Copilot a pretty unique offering among all of the AI noise that's out there. There's a lot of organizations pitching AI for different kinds of things, but Copilot is integrated into the platform of the Microsoft Modern Workplace in ways that other tools can't really touch. And so we're going to go over some of the ways that that helps you today. So a little bit of a background. We're going to start with a quick introduction or reintroduction into what Copilot is. Because the term Copilot covers several things that Microsoft is doing. It's kind of an umbrella term. It's an AI language model from Microsoft. It operates in the same space as tools like ChatGPT or Gemini, to name a few. For the purposes of this demo, though, we're going to really be focusing on Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365. So there's several types of Copilots, and kind of as we go through, you'll kind of start to get a sense of what that is. So Copilot itself, it's a number of things. It's Bing Chat or Copilot Chat, and this is where you just go to, Bing's website or inside of your Microsoft Edge browser, you click the little Copilot button. And this is kind of what you would think of as a traditional chatbot like GPT is. Copilot for Microsoft 365 is going to be the main thing that we're talking about today. And that's Copilot in your Microsoft Modern Workplace, in your Microsoft Word, your Outlook, your SharePoint, your Microsoft Teams. Copilot for Microsoft 365 is that integration with Microsoft Office. Copilot also exists for enterprise apps like Dynamics or Power BI for business analytics. Those are very kind of high-end enterprise tools, and we're not really going to be touching on those today. So there's also Copilot for professional use and Copilot for home users. And so Copilot free, this is the one that anybody can have. You just need a Microsoft account. So that's your Hotmail account, your Live account, your Microsoft or your Outlook.com account. And if you're signed into either the web browser or into Microsoft Edge or Windows with your Microsoft account, you can use Copilot for free. And this is your standard kind of chatbot where you can do the same kinds of things most people think of when they use ChatGPT. Copilot Pro is rather unfortunately named because it's not a professional product. It's just a bonus version of the free Copilot. So this is like if you've got kind of the paid version of ChatGPT, it gives you access to the GPT-4 Turbo engine and some additional features over and above just what you get for the free account that Microsoft gives to everybody. The product we're talking about now is Copilot for Microsoft 365. So up until now, if you've seen us talk about this before, Copilot for Microsoft 365 in Canada has only been available on an annual subscription paid annually. You did have to purchase the entire year for $488, which you still can do. It's a little bit cheaper than what they are now offering starting next month. I think it's next month, December 5th or something like that. You will be able to purchase Copilot on an annual subscription paid monthly. And so there's like a 5% surcharge on doing it that way, but you are now able to purchase Copilot on a monthly fee. It's still an annual commitment though, okay? So this is kind of the focus of our conversation today is on Copilot for Microsoft 365. And so what we're going to do, I'm going to be bouncing around a couple of applications here and go through what they are. Let me find there. Where's my match? There it is. Okay. So inside of Microsoft Edge browser is where we're going to be doing this work today. And as you can see, I'm signed into Microsoft Edge with my Microsoft account. Copilot knows who I am. And this is going to be a really important thing that we kind of see all throughout it. When you're dealing with AI models, it's incredibly important if you're going to be putting corporate or business or organizational information into it to really, really solidly understand what that AI is going to do with that. So you can't, for example, take a platform like the free version of GPT and take proprietary or personal identifiable information and just put that into there. That becomes part of that model. That's out there in the world, right? You've created a privacy breach by using some of these tools if you don't understand what that company is going to do with that information. So Microsoft has gone through great lengths to make sure that when you have a Copilot inside of Microsoft 365 and it has access to all of this information, there's an incredible amount of security and privacy around it. This is not going out into like a general GPT model or something like that. This is your company's AI inside of your company's tenancy for you. The other thing that's really important to understand is that this is my Copilot. This Copilot operates as Isabel. So it has access to the things that I have access to. Most importantly, it doesn't have access to things I don't have access to. Kaya's Copilot is going to be able to interact and provide different information based on the access that she has in her Microsoft Teams, in her email, in her SharePoint files and Teams files, her OneDrive, just the same as it does for me. So Copilot is always operating inside of the security model that your organization has in place, and it's able to create that level of privacy and security that most other AI tools are not able to provide for you. This is incredibly important when you're using an AI inside of a business organization. And we're going to talk about a little bit more about the risks of that in a little bit later. So in the web version, or this web chat, is exactly what you would think of as an AI chatbot. You can ask it to do just about anything. Unlike some of the other ones that are disconnected, this is always live. So this is closer to a combination of the original ChatGPT that couldn't search the internet in combination with the newer GPT search. So this is able to go online and you can ask it all kinds of things, whatever you want to. We don't need to necessarily get into that, but yeah, that's not really what we're here too much to talk about, but it is part of the platform. So we can switch over here to the work mode, and work mode is everything that has to do with your organization inside of your tenancy. And you do have the option under the applications, you can build in other applications into it. In this particular case, I'm going to turn off web content because I don't want Copilot to be referencing the internet for the first thing that I'm going to ask it. Okay. I want it to only look at our corporate information. And so let's say I'm putting on a role of, somebody who's responsible for policy inside of an organization, maybe somebody in human resources or in management. And I know that, our team was working on a policy for the acceptable use of AI. And so I can ask Copilot to give me something, just, what's the update? I know that this was something that was being worked on in the spring. And where did that get to? And so this has been able to go into email. It's been able to go into Microsoft Teams chats and also our files on SharePoint. So it's identified a Microsoft Word document that's here, and it's able to just simply open it up directly inside of my browser, inside of Microsoft Word right here in place. I could then just go ahead and ask Copilot to summarize it. But it's already done a pretty good job here. And it's been able to identify that Joshua Smith last modified this document on the 16th. So this is an AI that has combed through our organization and understands where we're at with our documents and things like that. If I clicked on this, it would take it to a chat that was between Plaquila, our human resources, and Joshua and myself, where we were discussing this, as well as there's an email here that it's identified as well. So it's gone through our file shares, our Teams chat, and email in order to accumulate this information. And so let's say that I'm going to switch hats a little bit and I'm going to go around to creating new policies. So I know that that one's in good shape. It's done, it's published. And so I'm going to come here and I'm going to ask Copilot right here inside of Microsoft Word. I'm going to ask Copilot to go ahead and, create an acceptable use policy for company IT equipment. Now, this, of course, is not something that you can't do in any AI chatbot. You could go into ChatGPT, for example, and ask it to do this. One of the things that's unique about this is that I'm doing this inside of Microsoft Word. And because Copilot is working inside of Word, it's also doing all of the things that you would do if you were making a Microsoft Word document. So this is properly formatted. I have proper headers and variables that are in there if you were doing something archaic like mail merge. These are proper headings, and why that becomes important, this isn't just copy and pasted text. This is actually, a Microsoft Word document with all of the, capabilities and automations that go along with that. So I can just ask it to drop in a table of contents, and it's able to do that because it's able to identify the structure of this document. And so this winds up being a much more powerful way of doing AI. In an integration, this would be much more difficult to do in a lot of other tools. So I'm just going to go ahead and save this demo 01, and I'm going to save that to my OneDrive. And now that I've got that saved to the OneDrive, I'm just going to grab a link to it. And now we're going to go over to PowerPoint because, of course, the next thing in a workflow, if you're going to create a new policy, might be to do something like you're going to have to roll that policy out to a team, etc. And so right here, again, inside of Copilot, I've got this, or inside of PowerPoint, inside the application itself, I've got this button for Copilot. And so I'm just going to go ahead and create this prompt. And so what I'm going to ask it to do is I'm going to ask it to create a presentation for our first line staff. And I'm going to give it that document that I just created. And so it's going to be for the presentation for first line staff, should be about 10 minutes long, and it's based on this document. So I'm going to ask it to go ahead and do that. And so again, Copilot inside of Microsoft PowerPoint is able to access that information that I just created inside of Microsoft Word, and it's able to go through and it can read that document as you would expect it's able to do so. It's identified the key points that it's in there, and it's going to draft a PowerPoint presentation based on this. Again, is this something, could you take that Word document, copy and paste the text into another AI tool and say, hey, can you generate some suggestions on a PowerPoint presentation for me? Well, yeah, you could, but then it's again copying, pasting back and forth and back and forth. It's got some suggestions to use, and it'll offer me to use Designer to make it more pretty if I wanted to. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to accept that right now and just put in some graphics, pretty basic, but that's what Designer's for. One of the things that's really important to note here is that it's not only created the policy, but it's also created speaker notes along with it. And these speaker notes are generated based on the content of it, but it also includes the original content where in the policy this particular slide took place. So again, this is another example of just a higher level of integration where we've gone from, maybe from a chat into one Microsoft application coming into another. And now we're just going to kind of keep going with this theme. So this is going to be, again, demo 1. Keep missing that E. All right, and so I'm going to save that. And again, I'm going to grab a link to that file because I want to use it. And I'm going to, so now I'm going to pop over into my Outlook. Where did my Outlook go? There it is. All right, and so just like in the other tools, hey, look, I have a webinar coming up. That's neat. We wind up with Copilot being able to be something that we can just simply utilize inside of another Microsoft application. So we can come in, we can create drafting with Copilot. So in this particular case, I might ask it, oh, that's so far I'm going here. I wanted to start with, that's right, I'm going to work. So I've got my policy, I've got my presentation, but I need to get this thing approved or reviewed first. So I'm going to see if, when am I next going to be meeting with the president of our company, Joshua, to go over this policy. And it looks like my next one-on-one with Joshua is going to be next week on the December 7th. After that is going to be on December 9th. So I know that I want to not have a meeting with Joshua this week. And so I'm going to ask Copilot to go ahead and tell me we need to have a staff meeting with the management team about what we're going to do here. And I'm going to ask it to go ahead and generate that. Same kind of idea. It's able to go in and find what it was that we were referencing, and it can go ahead and create that draft for me. There's another couple of different ways you could make this email. Again, you can draft just in line with Copilot here. We can also draft with Copilot inside of, where did it go? There, Copilot. Oh, the coaching with Copilot. Oh, which one did I? Sorry. Is it here? Okay, sorry. Anyways, again, you could do this in the inline chat just in the same way, and it would wind up creating that general text that you can kind of copy and paste over. And there we go. There you go. And so it's going to kind of go and do another couple of things, and it's identified that the meeting, so we do have a staff meeting on this week, Thursday, but that's not the one I asked for. I asked for next week, Thursday, and again, it's able to identify when that call meeting is. So that's a little kind of high-level overview of the integration that we have with the Microsoft Copilot that gives you capabilities that are they're over and above what you could do with just simply copying and pasting information out of multiple or various other chat engines and bringing it into Microsoft Word. All of this content and everything is already there. For the sake of this presentation, we're just going to kind of really highlight over some of the other applications. Of course, it is in Microsoft Excel. It's not as powerful in Microsoft Excel as it is in applications like PowerPoint or Microsoft Word. But if you're not a power user in Excel already, it can help you do things that, maybe frontline staff aren't really used to doing. It can create analytics. It can create pivot tables for you and create charts off of pivot tables. You can ask it questions about your data. You can go ask it to go out on the internet and fill in additional information. It's more difficult to use in that way, but it definitely does increase capabilities there. Copilot inside of Microsoft Teams is another great example. Quite often, in those L10 meetings that we were just talking about, our level 10s, quite often I'm in a client call, kind of running over one of those meetings. It's nice to be able to jump into a call 15, 20, 30 minutes into it and really get caught up really quickly. Copilot's able to summarize and go through the transcript and provide a person an update. Again, you could just simply skip the meeting altogether if you're not able to make it and receive that transcript back as well. So what are the next steps? The number one thing that you need as an organization to understand is that this is an incredibly powerful AI that is pointed at your organization, your people, and your data and content. It is highly secured. However, if there is a mistake in your environment and you don't know about it and you point Copilot at it, it will find that. So for example, Maybe 3 years ago, there was a PowerPoint presentation that was designed for the leadership team for an offsite. And that PowerPoint presentation ended up with, maybe some personal information, maybe some salary information on, say, slide 16. And that PowerPoint presentation ended up in a place where it probably shouldn't have been, where it's, not the level of security that somebody who maybe made that slide 3 years ago thought it might have been. The chances of somebody just randomly coming across a 3-year-old PowerPoint presentation, opening it up and finding information on slide 16 that they shouldn't find, versus Copilot finding it, Copilot will find it. It will index it. It will learn about it. That's what it does. It learns. And so it's incredibly important for organizations to go through the proper stages of data discovery, data loss prevention, and creating those policies and rules about how this is going to be used and putting the guardrails on it. It's incredibly important for an organization to understand what they're getting into when they start unlocking this kind of capabilities inside of their team. If you have already deployed Copilot in your environment and you haven't gone through that process yet, you need to take a step back and speak with your IT professionals about how you can make sure that you guys are secure, how you can make sure that you've gone through data discovery, and that if there's anything that shouldn't be in your AI, that you get it cleaned up. If you need some help with doing that, don't hesitate to reach out. You can book an initial consultation with us, and we can kind of walk you through where you are as an organization in your readiness for deploying a tool like Copilot, and making sure that you understand the steps that are required to keep yourself and your staff safe. So I work with Kirkcraft Technologies. Well, our clients love us. There's a great quote there from Ruth and Naomi. Yeah, Ingen, don't hesitate to reach out. We'll pause here. Are there any questions?
We don't have any questions in the chat.
Awesome. So I'm going to bring in a question because I was just talking about this with someone last night in a meeting. And the question came up, and I didn't include it in the slide, but I'm going to include it now. So one of the things that they asked about was like, who do we deploy Copilot to? It's not an inexpensive license, $40 a month per user. You want to make sure that you're getting your value out of it. And so quite often organizations, they'll take these tools and they'll give them to, their IT department, or they'll give them to their senior office staff, their operations manager, people that are fairly high end. As you can understand from what we just went through, the kinds of people that really benefit from this tool, that it really empowers, they are your first line office staff. They're your people in your HR department, people in your payroll and accounting, people in your marketing, in your sales. These are the people that are very quickly going to identify workflows that they have in their organizations that they can drastically improve. What we just went through might almost seem trivial with that, but can you imagine just 5 years ago, the amount of work that would have gone into, going to a product tool like HR Downloads, finding an acceptable use policy, downloading that, bringing that into your Microsoft Word, formatting it for your organization, then taking that and, trying to build a PowerPoint presentation out of that, then getting it scheduled and presenting. Like, that is so much work for somebody who's responsible for doing that kind of policy. And to be able to give those individuals in your workforce this kind of a tool, that's where AI is really going to excel. It's not, it's not the main core business processes that are incredibly complex. It's the day-to-day tasks that you're able to accelerate and empower people to do faster. The other thing I'll note also is that if you've used Copilot in the past year and you did not find it particularly intuitive or well used or well educated on your environment, one of the things that Microsoft did in order to keep the costs down on it is a learn as you use it model. So Copilot does to some extent go out and learn about your environment in advance, but really it's being trained on the data that is being interacted with by the people who are using the tool. If you bought Copilot and you stuck it on a shelf and you come back to it 6 months later and nobody's touched it or asked it a question, it's not going to know much more about your organization than it did 6 months ago. If you use it for 6 months, what it knows about your organization is going to be incredibly powerful compared to what it knew the day you turned it on. It is a learning model. It does need to learn, and it learns by you interacting with the staff and you using it. Did we end up with any questions?
We did not.
Awesome. Okay, so our next webinar is going to be in January. We are skipping December. We generally do these on the last Wednesday of the month, and there's, a holiday and everything going on. So we're going to skip December, and we're going to meet up in January. The topic on that's not settled yet. So as we've noted previously, we are going through sessions of Microsoft Modern Workplace Applications, tools and tricks and things that you want to learn about that you may not be aware of that you're paying. So we've done Microsoft Loop, we've done Copilot. There's a huge number of Microsoft applications that are part of your Microsoft 365 subscription. If there's one of them you want to know about, perhaps like Microsoft Bookings, do reach out, send us an email. Look for whatever we decide on. We will be posting it on LinkedIn and sending out the email blast about it. As always, if you have any questions around this topic or anything else, you can give us a call, send us an email. You can book a discovery call directly on our website. Follow us on LinkedIn. We do all kinds of webinars and newsletters and things like that. And I love connecting with people. I'm a people connecting person.
Isabel,
so reach out and
got a question. So I just
we just got a question
here. Yeah.
Oh, okay. We've got 3 minutes.
Can you use Copilot to create an action list from your emails?
Absolutely. You can use it to create, you can use it to summarize lists. You can have it go through and, what do I need to catch up on today? Give me the highlights. Absolutely. Copilot's got some great AI capabilities around some task management or, important information identification, things like that inside of Outlook. Yes.
You're welcome. All
right. Don't hesitate. Send us a question if you've got it as a follow-up. We're happy to reach out and help. This webinar will be posted, and have a great afternoon and the rest of your week. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.